We need to start. We really need to start. We really need to start.
Be more open to love.
Hey! Number 9. You said you're number 9.
This is not a punishment from God. Do not harden your heart towards Him.
I feel like I needed to hear that.
I feel like everybody in this room needed to hear that.
I know, right? When all
Like,
when it can all end. When it can all end. Okay? You don't never know when it can all end.
I'm outside in an AMG, right outside, TT, two-turn baby girl, you know.
Hello everyone, NGAN'ZAKWETHU. Welcome back to my channel. Today I have very lovely guests, as you can see. You guys can introduce yourselves, please.
okay, what do we say? Hi, my name is Adriana.
Miss Trans Financial.
We'll stop it. We're not doing this.
I'm gonna put the video. I'm gonna put the video. Adriana.
So I identify as trans financial, which means that I am a rich girl stuck in a broke girl's body, and that is one of the hardest things that I have to deal with in life. Hardest.
And then everyone's gonna be like, know her,
Yeah,
no.
Miss
And
Trans
obviously,
Financial.
Mbali M.
Is that it?
My cousin. I don't know what to say. Hi everyone, my name is Mbali.
So guys, today I wanted to bring you guys a little bit of a sit down. I don't think I have a sit down on my channel. So I wanted to invite my girlies over for us to discuss some pressing issues. Yeah, that is not that deep.
Damn.
It's literally not that deep. But so I remember last year, before my birthday, I drafted a list of 10 things that I wish someone told me. And what I want to do is essentially dissect that, right? Let the ladies put in their input and add on if they need to add on, agree, disagree, whatever the case may be, and just share just that general valuable knowledge around things that we wish someone would have advised us growing up. Okay?
Yeah.
So the first one is, you are who you needed as a child. You now have the power to protect and heal your inner child. None of it was your fault. Yo,
Damn.
I was going through it.
Deep, friend.
I was going through it.
Ding, ding,
Maybe. So I think maybe some context.
Yes.
Right. I don't know. Without oversharing, I would assume that a lot of us like grew up. Hey. Trying to separate my words here.
Yeah.
I'm trying to separate.
It's a safe space.
But I was just thinking about the way that I grew up in my childhood, right? I'm not saying I had a horrible childhood. No, I had a loving family that took care of me. But there were obviously just certain things that were out of your control that would have taken place as you were growing up that you maybe felt like you needed protecting and shielding from, right? And I feel like growing up, we grow up with that bruised inner child, and we kind of navigate life trying to protect that inner child and heal that inner child. So that's basically where I was coming from, to say that now I am that person to heal that inner child and protect them.
Yeah.
Do you get what I'm saying? Like
Yes.
every time I go through stuff, I can soothe myself now. I'm emotionally aware and have the emotional intelligence to kind of find healthy ways to
deal
go
with
about
certain
things.
things, yeah.
Exactly. What do you guys think?
Shoot, absolutely.
Oh, wild start.
Like apologizing to yourself. Like, you know how parents have this thing of when they're at fault, they can't apologize?
Yeah.
Especially as a child. Like, they would like look for other ways to kind of like apologize. Like,
Yeah.
all those shoes that you like, do you think they're still available? Instead of just saying, I'm sorry, I fucked up.
Yeah.
So it's also very important for you as a person to be able to be like, okay, be easy on yourself and forgive yourself for certain things like that, because in most cases we tend to be really hard on ourselves.
100%.
So that shit, yeah.
So basically be kind to yourself.
Yeah,
Kind to yourself all the
that
time.
part, being kind to yourself, is very important. And I think I agree with both of you actually, but also I think as kids, whatever we would have went through as children, like in our childhood, I think as we grow and navigate adulthood, we tend to be very apologetic. and we apologize for everything. Like, oh no, it's okay, because of what we went through as children. And I think it's important as you grow up to be more, don't be apologetic.
Yeah.
Like, when something is wrong, it's wrong, and address it.
Yeah.
And even if you are the one that is self-inflicting whatever toxic pain, not toxic pain, but like whatever thing that you're inflicting on yourself, you need to like call yourself out and call other people around you that are like doing you wrong.
That pain on you.
Because as kids, as Adriana said, like sometimes, actually a lot of times, oftentimes as kids, parents or adults around us do not ever apologize for anything. And you grow up with that you know what, maybe no one will ever apologize for anything. And maybe I don't deserve any apology. But you know, you tend to grow up with that trauma that maybe I don't ever deserve any apology from anyone. So now as you grow up, you need to learn that and unlearn certain things and teach yourself, and like, you know, tell yourself that I deserve certain things, and including apology. People are taking accountability for all the things that they could have done to me, but also now we're being self-aware of this pain that you're inflicting on yourself, and then take accountability and forgive yourself. I think that's
there's a point you mentioned there that triggered a thought. It's like learning to accept the apology you never got. It's like it's fine.
You gotta move it.
It's fine.
Yeah.
Gotta keep it moving.
Yeah.
Sorry guys, a little bit of a heavy stuff.
Making space for people who don't apologize, eh?
Pardon?
Making space for people who don't apologize. Like, it's also it's okay. Just move on.
It's fine.
just move on.
It's fine.
Just move on.
Cool. So number 2, it's okay to make mistakes. Life is too short. You never know when it all end. Okay, you never know when it can all end. So take risks, fail fast.
Yeah. It's like the saying,
Couldn't agree more with that.
you only live once.
Fail fast.
You only live once. That's a lie. You only die once. You live every day. So you gotta get with the times. You know? Gotta step it up.
Bells? How do you feel about that one?
I could not agree with you guys more. Life is all about taking risks. Life is all I mean, there's only one way to find out if you're ever going to be successful on anything that you try in life. So why not try it? If you fail, you'll try again, or you'll try something else. Life is all about exploring 100%. And trying different things. Or else, would you have lived at all?
Would you have lived at all?
If you're playing it safe all the time?
I think it also reminds me of this thing I want to try, and I think I saw a video on it on TikTok about this girl that was trying to get over dealing with shame. Because I feel like a lot of it's like taking risks and failing, etc., is tied to shame. Do you get what I'm saying? Like just shame and embarrassment and stuff. And I remember her. Why are you giggling? Guys, we have a production team. We have a production team behind the scenes. Upamaza and Imposi, okay? Who I don't know what they.
She's hiding her face. Like,
why are you hiding?
You don't have a camera in your face.
It's a production discussion.
But as I was saying, Uguti having to learn how to deal with shame and embarrassment. And I remember she was just going around asking like for random things from people. She like go into a bed store and ask like, can I jump on the bed? Obviously they're gonna say no. But it's like trying to deal with feeling embarrassed and shame and ashamed. So yeah, it's basically that's my train of thought.
It's okay.
It's okay.
You gave production team.
It's some airtime. Don't be afraid to take risks. Cool. Third one, modern problems require modern solutions. Take advantage of this digital age. Build your digital footprint.
Sure.
These are quite personal, hey?
Yeah.
These are very personal because not everyone
wants to be a part of the digital
exactly
world.
Not everyone would feel that way. We live in a different world, as I mentioned. Literally, modern problems require modern solutions. We don't have to go about things traditionally, right? You don't have to go the traditional route of like going to school, getting a degree, and getting a job. there's just so much more that you can do with what life offers at this point in time. And that doesn't only have to be on digital platforms and creating content. It can literally come in myriads of ways, right? And the one beautiful example that I can give is Adriana being a professional dancer. Like in the 1800s and, way back when our parents couldn't do that, right? They were taught, go to school, go become a doctor, a lawyer, whatever the case may be. And I don't think that's fair. So I feel like whatever your passion is, whatever your talents are, hone that. Like go to an acting school, a dancing school, whatever you want to do. Like hone that and like, do what you love. Do what you love. You don't have to be stuck in the shackles of doing things traditionally. And whether that means picking up a camera or doing something, much more creative and in the arts or whatever the case. If you want to do farming, like whatever it may be. I feel like the world now allows for people to
be who they want to be.
Allows for people exactly to be who they want to be and follow their dreams.
Yeah.
Well,
follow your dreams, but be smart also with how you follow your dreams. Don't just be like blind and following your dreams as well. Put in the work and see it through.
100%.
True. So
needs to be a plan and a strategy behind it. Woo! Cool. Fourth one is you income alone.
I feel like this is gonna touch my soul. Let's hear it.
Your income alone will not sustain you. Damn. Your income alone will not sustain you. Develop multiple streams of income.
Amen.
You ladies seem to feel a lot
Amen.
about that one. What do you think?
Amen. Amen.
And that's quite self-explanatory. I don't think I need to.
Yeah.
It's very simple. You don't even have to provide more context.
Yeah.
Damn, told me. Hey, what was going through
you guys,
your mind when you made this?
That touched my soul.
It did.
Yeah. Cost of living.
I mean, it's no doubt that throughout the years, things are more expensive now.
Yeah.
It's funny how the cost of living, mara salaries.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Almost Nyuga, like with the recession.
It's not directly proportional.
Inflationary rate, sorry.
It's not directly proportional. Nor is it inversely proportional. But so it only makes sense that if you want to maintain your standard of living and not downgrade at all, then multiple streams of income is going to be your answer. And fortunately now, again, going back to the previous point of the digital world, if you are a person who's comfortable navigating the social media space, then of course you could make money there.
Yeah.
Otherwise, sell something.
Sell something. Sell something. Oh, sell something. Keep. Oh, no.
I mean, when I say sell something, anything that you can sell it. Okay.
If you can't sell, what is it? TEFL? There are free courses where you can literally do a course and end up teaching English in the comfort of your home.
Exactly.
Really make comfortable money.
Exactly.
I've seen so many people like live comfortable with that.
Yeah.
It's just a matter of like completing the courses. They're absolutely free.
Yeah.
With some websites, you just gotta be smart where you look for them, and then you can literally just teach English and just make extra money.
Exactly.
Yeah.
E-commerce, guys, or drop shipping, like there's so much you can do.
You will always have a market. You will always have your people that will gravitate towards your product that you're selling or services. Whatever it is that you would be selling, you will always have a market. You will always have someone gravitating towards your product. So I think in a nutshell, friend, that point is extremely important. Very important, especially.
And like, don't be ashamed to be embarrassed about your hustle. I think it's also very important. Like, we are so quick to shame people for hustling for money. Like people who do deliveries for like your Uber Eats and stuff like that. Those people make so much money. I think if we could start fashionalizing hustle and making it look so good, everyone would just have the the gears to hustle and just make money.
Yeah, exactly. Which goes back to the point I mentioned around dealing with shame and embarrassment. Our production team, guys.
As you can see what's happening.
Production team, guys. Production team. Literally.
OnlyFans.
Pussy has like an OnlyFans banner, like, and he's flashing it. He's flashing it OnlyFans.
But hey, I mean,
as Jajan, Olan, as Jajan.
Listen,
hey,
as Jajan.
do you, boo?
As Jajan.
like if I had the guts,
yeah,
shake my ass.
I mean,
I just wouldn't make sure my face shows. Just
Look at Pussy's face.
I know I'd have somebody subscribing, favorite. But yeah, like I said, it goes back to not shaming hustles and just do what you gotta do. I mean, if it means that you gotta be a teller, wake up every day, put that eyebrow, make sure that lash is on shape, make sure that you have that lipstick and go. I think there's nothing as attractive as a person who is just so hungry, regardless of that whatever hustle they're hustling.
Yeah.
Dude,
you know, it's tough times. So
dude,
hey man, go for it.
Dude, and you know the pressures that you face.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Tina says, okay, that's
Absolutely.
But you know the pressures that you face each and every day, and ultimately only you can make the decision of changing whatever circumstance that is, and you can't let anyone that doesn't put food on the table make you feel otherwise. For you trying to find ways of doing that.
Not even in your contacts. You know, there's people you don't have their numbers to. You don't have the person's number.
Exactly.
You don't give a fuck about what they have to say.
Exactly.
They owe you nothing.
Exactly. Guys, let's get over the feeling of feeling shamed and like embarrassed.
Yeah.
Let's just go.
Cool. And then, number 5 was invest early and as broadly as you can.
Agree. 100%.
I think that also falls in nicely with number 4 around multiple streams of income. I think with this one I was just was much more around diversification of like your portfolios and share investments, crypto and all of those things, like understanding that world, because again it's another world that we've been introduced to. That provides the opportunities to have your money double and triple in whatever ways it can. Learning more about that and diversifying your portfolio.
But be smart as well. Read about these things or else.
Yeah,
Money.
the scammers. I'm a forex, guys. Be careful. Be
Careful
careful.
with your desperation as well.
Exactly.
Yeah, and if you're not in a position to be able to invest or save, that's also okay. Like we're living in tough times where
You have to make ends
just waking up every day making ends meet is tough. So if you feel like the person next to you is able to save, invest, all of that, the fact that you're able to pay your bills, do what you need to do, you're doing good. So also don't be pressurized by that, because it can be overwhelming when you hear a lot of people are like, no, my investment portfolio is looking good, my retirement what is what, and you're just like, I can't even save a K. That's okay. You know, because sometimes we get so frustrated and like, this is where I want to be.
Yeah.
And then you're not getting there. You're just trying. Doors will open. Do what you need to do. As long as you're doing the best that you can, shout out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that. Yeah. Pulse?
No.
Me. Okay, good.
Everything.
Okay, cool. Number 7. Build closer relationships with your family members early in your life if possible.
Sure.
Yeah. Some context around this one. I don't know, the older you get and like the older you the more you grow up, I feel like, I don't know, I also don't want to overgeneralize, because there's people who do have like very shaky relationships with family members, and I don't feel that everyone needs to be forced to like be super close, like besties with their siblings, or you know, have a relationship with their mom or dad, whatever the case may be, because they would know what would have taken place in that relationship that made them get to a point where they just want to distance themselves. So just maybe a disclaimer around that, because family relations are very tricky. But for people that have cordial relationships with their families or healthy relationships with the families, and at some point we're quite distant, whatever the case may be. I don't know, I was just reflecting on relationships that I have with some of my family members, and just wish that I would have invested some time, a lot of time in those relationships, because I am very family orientated and believe that, I don't know, man, I see God through my family, and the same way I see God through the friends that I keep, because that's my chosen family, exactly. And I mean, if you can have those relationships and have those blessings surrounding you, I mean, it's just much more bearable navigating the world. And you don't just have them obviously just so the world can be bearable, but it's just it's a much more wholesome experience, right? I don't want to be at the top alone, right? Yeah. I've never been that person. J. Cole says, like, what good is the first class if my niggas can't sit? Okay? Yeah. And that's literally exactly felt exactly. So that's just, it's literally just stems from that also. Yeah. I just always want to have a wholesome group of people that I can love on and can love with me, whether that is family or friendships. And I really, really, really believe in investing the time and energy in those relationships.
I think it's also harder when you're like abroad.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because you downplay knowing that you could just drive 30 minutes to go see your mom, or like 45 to go see your grandmother. But it's another story when you're in another continent and you're just like, I wish I could just, but I can't. Because flights cost kidneys and livers and what. You know what I mean? Yeah. So that's also important. And I think because as much as we're growing up, our parents and their parents are also growing up.
Missing out on a lot.
Yeah. Yeah, that just makes me feel very inside because,
Yeah. Both?
I think regardless of the distance, I think it's just extremely important to maintain some form of communication with the family, because obviously that builds the relationship. And then when you eventually can travel, then you are traveling to people that will welcome you anyway, because you've built that relationship. The distance has not affected the relationship you have with your family. And I think it's a lot more easier as well to build a relationship with your family at a distance when it's reciprocal. Because you don't want to be the only one that calls all the time. You don't want to be the one that's always checking up on them. Because that's another thing with family, is that there is this unspoken expectation.
Especially with adults.
Your son. Especially with adults. And also
especially with adults.
And sometimes, like actually more often than not, even cousins. And cousins that actually have cell phones and are able to, make a call. Sometimes you would always feel like you are the only one that is working to maintain this relationship. And it tends to be a little bit harder. So I wouldn't blame anyone that chooses themselves and their own peace when they see that the relationship between themselves and their families is not
doing what it's supposed to do.
It's not reciprocal. So you probably want to address that if that happens. And obviously if they're not doing anything about it, then it's okay for you to be by yourself and only see them
when you see them.
Yeah. At all costs, guys, like do protect your peace,
but try to work on it. Also do your part. Don't just give up before you try.
Yeah. Like this is a message to someone.
It's a message to self.
I feel like quick one, production, can you please just check if this thing is still recording? Like I have a feeling my space, I have a feeling there's a notification that says your space storage has run out. Guys, just a quick disclaimer, apologies for the change in lighting. We recorded quite late, so obviously the sun is going down. I'm trying to work with camera settings, etc. So picking up from where we left off, I think we're so number 8. So sorry, we did 7, right? That says build closer relationships with your family members early in your life if possible. And we elaborated on that, right? Saifan. So now, number 8, things are not going to go according to the plan. This is not a punishment from God. Do not harden your heart towards him.
Aim, I feel like I needed to hear that.
I feel like everybody in this room needed to hear that. I know, right? That was so random, though. That is so random. Because I wrote this last year.
Wow, I needed to hear that. But on a personal level, I relate to that because currently and many times throughout my life, I've had changes in plans which were out of my control. And obviously at the end, it always works out in my favor. But the journey, sometimes it's just not what I anticipate it to be all the time. And it always goes back to the scripture, guys. Remember, famous scripture in Jeremiah. What does it say? My plans are not to harm you, but to prosper you.
Give you a future.
To give you a future. Like, whatever it is that happens, if you have to pivot. If anything happens and plans change along the way, allow yourself to move with the plans. Just, what does it say? Roll with the punches. Like, life is all about rolling with the punches. But never fix your eyes on God all the time. Fix your eyes on God all the time. Whatever changes you experience in your life, if you've planned one thing and God is deciding on another, it means that at the end of the day, it's always going to work out in your favor. And that's what God is all about anyway. Why am I preaching? So anyway, I agree.
Dropping balls.
I agree with point number 8 because I relate to it. I resonate with that point. Very much so. Based on personal experience. And one thing I've always maintained in my life is that everything always works out in my favor, and it always has. It always has. I always plan one thing and God does the other.
Which is always more.
And God always exceeds my expectations because I always plan and limit myself, and God is like, no, I actually have bigger plans for you. And once they materialize, they're always in my favor, and I'm always left in awe of how powerful God is. So, that's very powerful. And
God's timing,
God's speed. Just always fix your eyes on Him and never give up.
100%. I think also with taking the risk of moving abroad, it's kind of inevitable that things are going to be a little bit shaky sometimes, right? Because you move with a certain vision, right? And when that vision doesn't come to pass, you kind of like, nah, like, God, you failed me type of thing, right? Because you would have expected for things to go a certain way. But I think moving abroad and taking any risk for a matter of that fact, right? It doesn't have to necessarily be moving abroad. But I think tied to that also is understanding that intelligence comes with knowing how to adapt, right? And adaptability of things not going your way. So now what do we do with that? Just what I'm saying. Pivoting, exactly. Like, what do we do from that? You obviously know that you have God, you have the backup, you have the mercy, you have the grace, you have the light that is shining upon you, but what do you do? So it's also applying yourself. It is also realizing that God is doing 1, 2, 3, and 4. What are you also doing? Do you get what I'm saying? So things not going according to the plan, inevitable, especially when there's drastic changes in your life. And I think that's the point that I came or that I wrote to this point around. I just moved and it was my first year. So last year I just closed my first year. And things weren't really moving the way that I expected them to be. And only to realize later on and have an aha moment, what I actually moved here for wasn't even what I expected it to be. Right? In some way, you want to think that financially I would have wanted to take something off, career-wise, But I was actually telling someone, moving here made me, or brought me closer to who I am. And brought me closer to a version of Mbali that I would have never, ever, ever seen the day of light off if it was an essay. Right? So sometimes it's not even you realizing things that you have on your list checked off, but it's things that are way, way, way deeper than what you would have imagined.
Throughout your life, there's always going to be changes, guys. Not everything works out the way that you want it to work out. Remember, we have God who controls the entire universe. So you always plan and bring your wishes to God, but God always knows what's best for us, more than we know for ourselves. And there's always a good thing that comes out of any change. And the entire process of transitioning from one point to the other, whether it's smooth or not, there's always like a character that's built. It's building your character for the next phase of your life. And it's unfortunately sometimes the road tends to be a little bit bumpy.
Very.
But trust me, at the end, it's always good.
Yeah, and I always say that, God, if it's not in your will, I don't want it.
Yeah. And God's will sometimes, it tends to be very challenging. But I think what's more important is what you do throughout that process.
Yeah.
What you choose to do.
Yeah.
And one thing that I've learned while performing is the only thing that's consistent in life is change. So everything's gonna change and you need to make space for it, and that's okay. You know, it's like you never want a flat line in life. You know, even in your heartbeat, there's ups, there's downs, there's hard, and that's how you know you're alive. But the moment when you're just flatlining, that means you're dead. So you need to make space for the ups and the lows, and that's very important. So when you have those lows, just know that it's gonna shoot you right up. For every low, you need to shoot up. There's no way you're going but up. So you know, appreciate those flat lines and those high moments when you're really high. Just know that you're not going to stay high forever. And that at some point, that high has to go down. And when it does, welcome it gracefully, because it's part of the journey.
Yeah.
You know.
I hope we're really sharing things that you can hold on to and apply. And cool. Number 9. Ivale mfana.
What does it say?
Ivale. Who does it say?
If not us, then when?
The color, you don't know the color of tomorrow, guys. We don't know the color of tomorrow. This life thing. You don't know the color of tomorrow. Number 9. You can tell. Be more open to love.
Hey!
Number 9. You tell me number 9. Number 9. You tell number 9. Oh.
You deserve it. You deserve it.
Oh, number 9. Mbali. I just knew to number 9. Let the world burn. Number 9. Guys, I'm feeling that you're strong. Do you know that videos of Tagaban? Yes.
I won't act tough. I won't act like a steering. I won't act like Msazonyisa. I won't act like Bazonia. I'm just showing you that we all go through shit.
Guys, I'm feeling that you're strong. Number 9.
Gobi kuyasinda kunzima kunqala kusinda kakhulu aphenduka matafula.
The people don't even know what number 9 is. Tell the people what number 9
No, but I said it. It
you
says
finish it.
be more open to love.
Adriana.
Be more open to love. You deserve it.
Everybody deserves love, okay? Everybody deserves love. So,
yeah, that's it. Number 10.
I'll take
Please,
this one.
please.
I'll take this one.
Yeah,
Our biggest
please.
problem is that we factor life and love on relationships and the person that you date. Love, comes from friendship, love comes from family. So sometimes just hone it in all places that you can and just hold on to it, because tomorrow you wake up and you don't have the person that you were supposed to give that love to, but you thought you had time and you didn't. Yeah. So we tend to put our blindfolds on when we're dating because we're like, you're the only one. No, diversify your love. Give your love to your mom, your sisters, your siblings, all the people that you can give love to, because honey, time is not ours. We're not in control of time. And you will wake up tomorrow and the ones that you love and you were supposed to spread that love as easy will be gone. So let's just stop putting on our blindfolds and thinking just because Ujoni is not there anymore, fuck it. No, spread that love. You know what? And it's gonna be okay. And you'll find another lover. And he'll rock you too. And then when he rocks you too, you say thank you. You move on and find another Tom. That's just how it goes. Love and light.
So I completely agree with your friend around uthando obviously doesn't just come in like romantic relationships, right? It's platonic relationships, your family, etc. But yeah, if you being BFFR,
being for
real.
So based on answers specifically on romantic relationships.
Exactly. I think I was. I was.
You were talking about
particularly speaking on romantic relationships. Fana, boys the boys, and at that point, right, I wasn't open. Obviously. Like the note says, be more open. I wasn't open, and I have a certain experience that happened a little while ago, right? That production is screaming story time. Well, silent is screaming story time. Guys, moving right along. But it was an experience that I went through, in which I believe I opened myself up to love at least a little bit, and it obviously didn't materialize,
and that's okay,
but it just keeps shooting down the version of me that is struggling to believe in the concept and believing that you deserve it and all of those things, that it just keeps getting shot down. So it's constantly just trying to motivate yourself and like affirm yourself, Wuti. It's going to happen. You deserve it. Open yourself up to it, etc. So, kunzima, guys. Okay.
Out of topic. Do you sometimes feel like we are shooting too high when it comes to love? Like, do we want to be Cinderellas about love, or what's our story with love? Because it seems like Black women are not winning when it comes to relationships. What's going on? Are we asking for too much? Are we giving too much?
I don't think I'm asking for too much.
What's the story?
Same. I don't think I'm asking too much.
I was watching a TikTok earlier and it was American based, which whatever. Yeah. But it was talking about the divorce rates when it comes to different races, and how in America Black women have the highest divorce rates, and how, out of topic, the topic was about how Black women should start diversifying in terms of races when it comes to dating, because Black men are just not doing it. But that also got me thinking, besides it being America, like, what is globally happening to us as Black women with dating? Are we becoming too controlling? Are we wanting too much? Are we wanting too little? Are we looking at ourselves in the mirror and saying, here's my wrongs, here's my rights? Like, what are we doing to fix this? Because the more we go into adulting, the more we're realizing that Black women are not getting married. And if they're getting married, they're getting married because, one, financially it makes sense. Number two, they're ready to have children. Or number three, it's just the peer pressure of their circles, getting married, getting that, that picture perfect, picket fence type of storyline. Therefore, it only makes sense to settle with Tom, who's working very hard, but isn't ideally the person that they want to get married to. So what's the storyline? Are we in the wrong? Are our brothers in the wrong? Are we not supporting each other? What's the chat? And let's just be real about it.
Good I really want to know what's the problem.
Genuinely, like and it happens the moment we clock out of our
25 going upwards.
But also remember, once we reach our mid-20s and approaching our 30s, the less we settle for bullshit.
For mediocre.
And the less men and the less black men settle for older women because older women are also, black men are also clocking that older women, not older women, listen to me saying older women, matured women who are stepping out of their middle 20s are...
But I mean,
technically more difficult to work
with.
I
mean, the technically are older. If I'm 27 and you're 30, you're older.
Okay.
Yeah, you're older.
And the reason why I say
we're trying to be sensitive.
I'm trying to be sensitive because I mean, when you have chats with some people who are approaching their 30s, people who are approaching their 30s are very sensitive about approaching their 30s. People who have stepped into their 30s are very comfortable in their 30s. They say it's the best time of their lives and they glorify 30s. So I need to accommodate those parties as well.
It's
the
okay.
People approaching and the people in 30s and moving on.
It's okay. We can use the term older.
It's okay. I'm older than a 19-year-old.
Exactly. It's fine. But it's fine. Back to the point that I was trying to make. Older women, they're more uncompromising now when it comes to love and relationships. And hence, I think, is the root cause to the rise of black couple divorces because mostly black men, they could have possibly met you when you were a lot younger.
And still naive
and gullible and accepting every nonsense in a relationship that comes with being in a relationship because you're trying to just maintain this relationship. We've always had childhood dreams of growing up with our partners, growing old with our partners and being married and have, the white picket fence.
Absolutely.
But the more you grow up and you realize that actually this white picket fence is coming with a lot of relationship trauma, do I really want to be part of this? You tend to spend more time with yourself and be more honest with yourself that this is probably not what I really want. And that normally happens when you are a lot more older in life. So, and more matured. And
not directly tying maturity and maturity, please.
Yes.
And I'm gonna throw another bomb in it.
Yeah.
I want to put in a word.
Okay, put in a word. Put in a word so I can sauce it up. Yeah.
So my perspective is that I genuinely think that your concern and question and point is multifaceted.
Yeah.
I think we can't necessarily look at it in the same, like in one way, right?
Yeah.
In the sense that there's a general evolution that's taking place in the world, especially in terms of gender roles.
Absolutely.
Right? The rise in feminism.
Yeah.
Right? And the awareness around toxic masculinity, etc., etc. We are trying to still find our feet, guys.
Absolutely.
We are a working class. Exactly. We are a working class, educated.
The worst economy on.
We educated. We have our own things going on. We're independent, etc. And we're trying to navigate relationships with men that have also different views around the role of a woman, right? And we have different views around the role of a man, right? So it's like everyone is just fighting from one point to another. No, you're feminist. No, you're toxic masculinity. No, this and this and this and this and this. And I think that we don't have good education around navigating our circumstances right now in terms of gender roles.
Yes. With the moving times.
Yeah, with the moving times. Egos are up high because I have my own, you have your own.
I can do it by myself. 50-50,
do you understand?
When it comes to dates, no 50-50, but when it comes to this, 50-50.
Do you understand? There's a lot of double standards. There's this, there's that, there's this, there's that. So I think there's social media also. Which is a big factor, right? If someone is just scrolling down, they see bums, and you see six pack, it's obviously easier to fall into temptation. There's just so much. There's just so much that we are now exposed to. That abantu esikhathini sakudala worked, right? And the big an issue around ukubegezela that we've been schooled.
Yeah.
Right around umuzoshada, there will be all elder women from your family that will tell you, Wuti, you don't go through his phone when he comes back at 1 a.m. You don't ask any questions. If your family like tagata, now you're tagata. Everything. Do you understand?
Yay.
So it's trying to.
Which gang?
Do you understand? It's trying to navigate that because we are a different breed of women now. We're not. That's not acceptable. It's just certain things where we understand that we understand are not acceptable, and you're trying to maneuver that. So it's multifaceted. Probably deserves its own video, but that's
I think the bomb that I wanted to add is, do you think, because I would personally like to say, I don't know about you guys, you'll tell me your experiences and your background, but I feel like we're the generation that literally experienced single parenting. Out of all the generations that have ever happened, we are the generation that are living the truth about being brought up with single parents and like either the mother not being involved or the dad not being involved. Do you also think that plays a role in how we balance marriage and how we see marriage relationships now because of that? Because that does carry some type of scar.
Yeah. 100%. I think being raised up in a largely woman-led family,
female dominated,
exactly, and growing up not really understanding the role of a man in the house has definitely influenced the way that I see dating, and a lot of women that grow up in woman-led families.
I know.
Yeah.
That's why I was...
So it's just basic things of understanding. Ukuthi ubaba umuntu baba endlini uphathwa kanjani, right? Where do you place them? Because I've seen my mom and my aunt and my grandmother do everything, right? So what do I do? What do you do? Because I can hold it down.
That's where
I can hold it down.
And so that's why I wanted to say, like, my stressful part about it is that we as women have become so dominant in taking all the roles of running a household that we don't know how to factor a man in. And when we factor a man in, we factor them with a man must.
Yeah.
And not knowing the essence of how to balance it out, because we've never really experienced that two parents in one household having a system, working it out. Because I know with my friends that have had both parents move differently.
Right?
They just genuinely move
differently.
It's different. And sometimes
it's
I'm like, are you dumb? And then sometimes I'm like, I wish I was you. Because there's no level of resilience. There's no level of I can do it by myself. That is completely wiped off. It's just like, it's so refreshing to see, and unfortunately it's 1 out of 10 or like 2 out of 10 that you can say, wow, I testify, like that's beautiful. And I think that's also one of the reasons why relationshiping is so difficult in this age, because there's so many people who didn't grow up with that, men and women. So now when a man is living in a situation where it's female dominated, and it's just like, this is how it's supposed to be done. And then you have a woman who's also brought up in that type of situation, and they come together and they date. It's bound to be chaos.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. That there's a lack of education of how we maneuver that. And I think you just have to be very intentional. I know personally I've been very intentional. I love consuming like content of women that are submissive, and women that grew up with their dads, and seeing how my favorite content creator, Usne Google, guys, please go subscribe, like, comment, subscribe. I love Usne. I love Usne, and a lot of you may know. Why get a lot of you? What if they do want about two? Like, a lot of you. Yeah, that's what I mean. But anyways, Usne Google. I religiously watch that woman's channel. And people never used to understand why NGAN'ZAKWETHU the husband's food is like, properly plated, it's in a tray, you know, a little tray for him to wash his hands, etc., etc. Traditional things that we would have known of back in the day that's not really now the trend, whatever the case may be. And her chat was that she's like, but I grew up in that way.
Yeah.
You know, when my dad was coming in, we all ran to the gate. Someone is opening the gate. Someone is fixing the plate. Someone is fixing this, because you know, you know.
Yeah.
And I absolutely was so inspired by that and adored that, right? And it doesn't mean because I come from a totally different background, I can't have that. If I want it, then I need to learn. You educate yourself. You learn about it. You educate yourself, and you further then implement it. Because I genuinely want that type of traditional, you know, household. You get me? It may not be to the full extent, because if I were to be a stay-at-home wife, which I absolutely want to do, I'm not gonna just stay there and I'm just chilling. Yeah. There's nothing wrong with that, but I know that I need something to keep my mind going. Probably just do, you know, have an online business somewhere, have multiple businesses running somewhere, but nothing that really requires me to the extent that my 9 to 5 requires me. I know running a business obviously is taxing, but I would find things that are much more manageable, but also being able to cater to my man on the level that I want to. What I'm saying is you have to be intentional, and you have to educate yourself around it if it's something that you want. Some people want 50-50. That's okay. Some people want much more traditional households or gender roles, and that's okay. Yeah. Just find your match and keep it moving. It's not right or wrong. It's just find your type and someone else that wants that also, and keep it moving. Yeah.
And also, please, this is not to say that people that grew up in single parented houses, households, that you will never be able to take care of a man. You don't know how to be submissive, and you don't know how to be domesticated and take care of your family. Please, I don't think that's the narrative I want.
Absolutely not. So I'm talking about educating yourself around.
It's all about just being intentional about, you know, being the person you want to be, being the wife that you want to be, the mother that you want to be, regardless of your background.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Guys, let's turn this to Twitter.
Yeah.
It's not one-dimensional. It's not one-dimensional.
It's not one-dimensional.
Absolutely multifaceted.
Yeah.
Woo! Chill. And then the last one is things will work out. Always look at how far you've come. God has always been in the detail. Just always look a little closer.
Yeah.
I always say the person you were 5 years ago would be so freaking proud of you right now. I always remind myself with that, and I always take myself 5 years ago when I was hustling. I was literally living in the ghettoest of ghettoest places. I didn't know what a payslip was, but I knew I just wanted to perform. And I made sure that I would catch any taxi at MTN, or under us, to get to that gig and get there on time. Yeah. And now I'm able to drive myself to places, do things. I'm able to pay my own rent. I'm able to shoot what hustle I want. So that shit is true. Always be able to look at yourself 5 years ago. I said 5. Look at yourself 5 years ago and like, hey, look at yourself.
Look at
where you are right here. Look, you're doing good. Your problems, there will always be problems, guys. More money, more problems. Yeah. Allow that shit. It's okay. More problems, it's okay. You'll just handle it differently with a different currency. Yeah. It's okay. Look at yourself differently. Look at yourself. Step outside of your shoes and just be like, 5 years ago, I was not, and I never even dreamed of being here. And if you did, good job, because you're ticking it off. But 5 years ago, where would I be? Look at yourself now and clap for yourself. Yeah. Learn to clap for yourself.
Keep a gratitude journal as well, because that is where you'll be able to track your progress. Sometimes you tend to get lost in life, the hustle of it all, and you fail to recognize your progress throughout life. I think one thing that always helps me is just gratitude, journaling, and just always remember that 2 years ago I was praying for this particular thing, and 2 years later I have it, and I'm praying for something else. It's okay, because as a person in life you have to progress, you know, continuously. You can't stay in one place all the time. But keeping that gratitude journal every day actually. There's always something to be thankful for.
Absolutely.
And I think that really helps a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Whew, child. It's basically like realizing that you're living in your answered prayer.
Yeah.
Right? These are the prayers that you were praying years ago.
Absolutely.
And now they've been answered and you're in them.
And they're bigger.
And exactly. So don't make the mistake of not realizing that. And it also reminds me of my favorite sermon from Pastor Sarah Jakes Roberts, Stone Cold Evidence.
Yeah.
Collecting evidence. So she basically speaks about how she got her mom actually found the letter that she wrote when she was pregnant as a teenager, and she was talking about how she just craves the presence of God and she wants to be in the presence of God. And she was only, I think, 13, 14, if I remember correctly, and she's with child. And then later she speaks about how she can't just wait to be in the presence of God, and chase after God's heart, etc., etc. And now, years later, she's a pastor, right? She's the remarkable woman that she is. And she's like, if I didn't have this letter, I wouldn't even know that years back, I'd felt out of this place that I now want to be in. And now I'm living that life, right? So collect that evidence. God is in the detail. The smallest of things that you don't even realize, he is there. We always speak about how, and even how our friendships have all interconnected and came together. It's like, it was God, right? God. He knew that at this moment in time, this person is going to need this person, this person's going to need this person. And I want to go because it's not anything monetary or but to me, those are the type of things that I'm like, God is in the detail. I see him working. Do you get what I'm saying? And I always think about how let's say you're posting, it's, oh my God, God is good, God feel blessed, etc. If you funny, envious or jealous, whatever the case may be, half of the time when I'm praising God, not even half, 90% of the time when I'm praising God, I'm praising for things that are so intangible. I'm praising him for feelings that I'm feeling. It's not even like things are going bad. Like that time, things are going bad. But I just have a state of consciousness that I'm so grateful for, right? Feeling hopeful, feeling blessed, feeling this, feeling that. It's just a mindset that not everyone is privy to, because you get people that have it all but don't feel that way. So it's always thanking him for the consciousness. I always say that thank you, God, for the consciousness that I have within me right now. A feeling of hope, a feeling of motivation, a feeling of possibilities, a feeling of I can do this. And it's because I know that he is in the detail, because I have the evidence. I've seen him before, and I will see him all the days of my life. He is Alpha and the Omega. And
I think that's like the pure definition of faith. You know,
100%.
Like
things that you cannot see.
You not see it.
You
can't see it, but you have that thing telling you, whatever happens, I know.
100%.
Woo! That was I enjoyed that though. I enjoyed that there. Definitely unexpected. Definitely unexpected, but I thoroughly enjoyed it. So we went through the list, and guys, let me know in the comments things that you wish someone told you before getting to the age that you're now at. Things that you wish you would have learned. Maybe if you relate to the things that we have listed out, whatever the case may be, let me know down in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching till this point. Ladies, I don't know if you want your handles, if I don't know. No. Nothing. We gotta try, but guys. Mbali.
I think they probably know already.
How do they know? How do you know? How do you know?
How will they know?
I'll put Mbali's Instagram. And guys, thank you so much for watching, and until the next video, toodaloo.